Okay, LeBlanc here. Kind of vanilla for a champion. Just 5-2 quick attack for 3 levels when I've seen you deal 15 plus damage. So most notable that only 2 points of toughness means that this is gonna die to stuff like Mystic Shot. And I can't imagine Mystic Shot is gonna get any less popular unless they nerf Twisted Fate or Burble Fish, but we'll see. We'll get patch notes tomorrow to know whether or not that's gonna be happening, I believe. Um her leveled mode is neat. So her leveled mode at least gets big enough to dodge Mystic Shot if she can survive to get there. So 6-3 stealth quick attack. Each time I see you deal 15 plus damage, create a mirror image in hand. If you already have one, reduce its cost by 1 instead. Where is Mirror Image? Mirror Image is a slow spell that summons an exact ephemeral copy of an ally with 5 plus power. So this actually seems like a pretty reasonable payoff. Like getting you another thing, like another strong unit in play can let you close things out quickly. So does that include the 15 plus damage used to level up? I don't think you get a mirror image for free. Does anybody know in chat to confirm? I don't think you get one when she levels automatically. Or do you? Oh yeah, that's true too. Not only does she die to Mystic Shot, but she dies to Gold Card. So I think I drafted a LeBlanc list last night before I went to bed. I didn't feel like recording, but I wanted to work on some deck ideas. I think like you're gonna have to have protection to play this card, right? So there's in Shrumia, we have the new 2 mana turn something into a landmark until end of turn that could protect her. In other regions, you have different combat tricks and stuff that could pump her up. So I feel like if there's a 5 plus attack damage matters, the reputation cards could be very reasonable. So reputation, if you haven't seen it, is a new keyword that says if you've dealt 5 damage 4 plus times, you get the reputation keywords. This is a 3-2 for 2 that copies the strongest ally when she comes into play. So I really like this design on a 2-drop. So like 3-2 for 2 is like an okay aggressive stat line. And then in the late game, this is a card that's going to continue to be relevant by copying your largest thing that's struck. And struck doesn't just mean combat. So for example, we're getting, where is it? Bloody Business here is an excellent piece of removal. An ally with 5 plus power strikes an enemy. So you could, for example, pre-combat, use Bloody Business to get your last point of reputation by striking for 5 plus, and then play Black Rose Spy, copying the thing that you used Bloody Business on, which seems fantastic. Other reputation cards. So this is LeBlanc's champion spell, but also a card that you can just play. So deal 2 to anything. It's a 4-cost Mystic Shot that turns into a 1-cost Mystic Shot. I wonder if this would have been too pushed at 3 mana. I think depending on what your deck looks like, you might be willing to play this as an actual spell just because dealing 2 kills things like Twisted Fate, which is pretty important. But at the same time, there's the hand of whatever that deals 2 to a unit and then 1 to your opponent. That's probably just better in most situations. So I imagine you won't be sad to draw and cast this on occasion if you're keeping a LeBlanc in play, but I'd kind of be surprised if Sigil of Balance is a card you actually want to put in your deck. Whisper Words, this card is very good. Just like 4 mana draw 2 is an appropriate rate, and then Reputation in the late game, if you struck with 5 plus power things, this costs 2. That's an incredible rate, so I expect this card to be very reasonable, just noxious card advantage. Mimic, Reputation, I cost 1, pick a spell in play or in hand and create a fleeting copy of it. This is interesting. Spell Thief is a card that's like been somewhat playable, and this card gives you a little bit more control over what you're getting than that. This notably can copy spells that are on the stack. That's what it means by in place. You can grab your opponent's spells. You can like grab a deny, or you could grab a single combat or a concerted strike or something like that with this card. I feel like you probably can't hit Reputation consistently enough early enough for this to be something you want to be doing, but I feel like I would need to get in some reps with this to see how it actually plays out in practice. Thorn of the Rose, again, if there's going to be a 5+ power matters deck, this card seems instrumental in it. Guile is a 1 mana slow spell that stuns something, so this is an okay rate that comes with a little bit of utility that can help you push damage in your deck that's likely has an aggressive slant. Sand Soldier, 1/1 ephemeral for 1. It deals 1 damage to the enemy next to it. So kind of attacks for 2. And this is not a card you can put in your deck. It's supposed to be a created card. When I'm summoned, summon a Sand Soldier. Okay, so you have a 2/1 for 1 that when you play it, it attacks for an extra 2, kind of. Emperor's DAIS. When allies attack, summon an attacking Sand Soldier. I don't know. That does this seems fine. Like a 2/1, a 2/1 that comes with a buddy seems reasonable. This seems kind of mediocre. Like, remember, landmarks are taking up one of your bench slots on offense and defense. So, like, getting a random extra 2 attack every attack at the cost of 2 mana in a bench slot seems medium. Yeah, maybe there's something to this card in an Ephemerals Matters deck. Yeah, maybe there's an SI Sand Soldier deck that wants to play with Shark Chariot. I could see that maybe. Or with Hecarim. Yeah, perhaps that's the way you want to try this. I don't think this is like a card or a rate, this card that you want to play in a normal aggro deck. This could probably be a fine normal aggro card. This probably wants ephemeral synergies. Yeah, there could also be something that's important. We have one more Shrumia champion coming tomorrow, so we'll see if it synergizes with that. Attack, summon an attacking Sand Soldier. Also seems kind of mediocre. 3/5 stat line for 4. Nothing to really write home about. This effect, don't really love this Sand Soldier thing. Yeah, maybe there's some big Sand Soldier payoff coming, but at a glance right now, it doesn't seem great. Grant allied Sand Soldiers everywhere 1 attack, summon 2 Sand Soldiers. Cute, I guess. I mean, like, this is like pretty on rate for like the things you would play in a Hecarim payoff deck. So yeah, I mean, this could give range to what you could do with Hecarim as opposed to just like Hecarim with Demacia stuff like we've seen in the past. So, you know, maybe. You summon another ally, give it 2 attack this round. Sure. Yeah, this is a sweet ephemeral payoff as well. Imagine this card was something like Blighted Caretaker or Shark Chariot or Hecarim. Like, seems very reasonable, all things considered. Oh, decent stat line, 4/6 for 5, and reasonable effect. Reduce my cost by 1 for each ally that attacked this game. So what's the earliest you can play this? Let's say you're attacking on odds. You could attack with 1 thing on 1, and let's say you attacked with 3 to 4 things on 3. You're like not playing this before turn 6 to 7. At which point a 6/6 for whatever rate you're getting is kind of whatever. That's a good catch. The new 1-drop technically lets you attack for 2 on 1. But yeah, still, even if you like assume you attack for 2 on 1, like, so like best case scenario, you attack for like 2 on 1, and then maybe this card's better on evens. So like, let's say you play a 1-drop on 1, and then you play like an Elise or a House Spider on 2, and you attack for 3 on 2. You could like attack for 3 on 2 and attack for 5 on 4, and that's 8. And then you can play this as a 4 mana 6/6 on turn 6. I don't know. I feel like best case scenario, thinking about like what this does the turn it does it, it doesn't seem particularly impressive. I guess it's kind of comparable in a way to that Yeti that starts as a 7 cost. Yeah, no keywords here is sad, right? Because there's the 5/5 Overwhelm Yeti that gets cheaper every turn that it's in your hand. And this card has some parallels to that where like it gets cheaper as the game goes longer. But I think a big part of what makes that Yeti playable is the Overwhelm. Yeah, so I feel like I'd be surprised if this was... Yeah, maybe there's some synergy with Scouts or Rally, but I feel like the payoff that you're ultimately getting in proportion to what you're doing just like doesn't seem super exciting. Yeah, just like pick a keyword at random, and it's probably closer to playable. I don't know, maybe we're wrong, and maybe you're going to be attacking a bunch of this is great, but like just like a mostly vanilla 6/6 doesn't really excite me. To wrap on an idea. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I should. There's been more things spoiled. So like I've seen a lot of people giving feedback on LeBlanc being mediocre, but like I honestly think like LeBlanc Severe in a 5+ attack matter style deck could be very reasonable in a shell like this. We're gonna try something like this later this week. Ancient Hourglass specifically, I think is a card that's very good at protecting these champions, which seems reasonable. Things like Sharpened Resolve give you extra toughness as well, so I think something like this could perhaps be very decent. Both Whispered Words and Trifarian Assessor are really good at generating card advantage, and you have a lot of good cards to enable it, so interesting, Violet. Yeah, I don't know the Vorthos on these things. At any rate, I'll be back tomorrow with another Runeterra spoiler. We'll review Azir similar to how we've done everything else. If you haven't checked out the rest of my Runeterra spoiler review, they're all in the Legends of Runeterra playlist on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jeff Hoagland. I'm signing off for the day. Everybody stay safe out there. Peace, folks.